watching and listening an episode of Leaders and Engineers. I'm Norman Supov and we're broadcasting from Estonia. Today our guest is an expert in data science, machine learning, economics and business analytics. She has a Bachelor of Science cum laude in Finance and Credit and Master of Science cum laude in Quantitative Economics. With about 10 years of experience in data science, economics and business analytics. She was awarded by the University of Tartu for the best master's thesis on topic Spillovers between cryptocurrencies. And also she is a winner of International Olympiades in mathematics and economics. Furthermore, she is a winner of the Hackathon Challenge Junction, where she delivers solutions for efficient and personalized indoor lighting. And also she is supporting communities around the globe by volunteering in various causes such as environment protection, education, startups, and empowering girls in tech. For instance, she is one of the organizers at Django Girls and North Start AI. She's living in Estonia and works as a senior data scientist at Bold, where she focuses on anti-fraud solutions. Please meet Elizaveta Lebedeva.
Thank you for interaction. I'm glad to be here today.
Nice to have you here.
Thank you.
So how's it been going for the last few days? Which conferences you went to? If you did do that?
Not the last few days, but the last few weeks. I attended the Git conference in Tartu. It was a very large tech conference happening in Estonia, and I really enjoyed this event.
Great to hear that, and it was really interesting to hear your talk there. I was also on this Digit conference, and as I understood, this the topic you mentioned about anti-fraud. This is your key focus at Bold as a data scientist.
Yes, yeah. I'm at Bold for a long time, but for the last 3 years, I'm part of fraud data science team when I'm working on different projects which relate how we can prevent and reduce our fraud.
I see. Excellent. But what I want to propose you right now is kind of mock-up of the job interview to a company which doesn't exist, but it's an engineering company, data science company. And it's also imaginary position, like the head of the data science team. And I will be asking you questions which is typically kind of like in a job interview, but that way people will know how it flows, this job interview, get to know you as well. And by the end, I will say that we've done with this job interview mode, and I'll ask your feedback. Is it like similar to your experience when you were interviewed? And your overall feedback on how it went.
Yeah, sounds exciting.
Yeah.
Let's start it.
Hello, Elizaveta. Thank you for applying for the position in our company. And it's a leadership position in our data science team. And our company is producing what we call hover umbrella. It's umbrella, but it's following you and hovers above you. Mm-hmm. And I'll show just one to you. You will see this on your screens. And this is how it looks like.
Okay.
So you never have to carry. It will follow you wherever you go. And you will be leading a team of data scientists working on this product. Mm-hmm. So my first question, why have you decided to apply for this position?
I think the first thing which usually motivates me to be in a company is an actual product which they offer for users, for customers. And I think this hover umbrella is a very useful thing, especially in Estonia when we have rains almost every day throughout the year. So I think it brings a lot of value for people. So that's why I applied for this position. And also I think that my skills can meet the requirements of this position. So I think there is a match here.
If you think about this whole umbrella product, the umbrella which is following above you, what kind of data science use cases you can think of regarding this product?
I mean, you need so this thing need it's like object detection basically, because how it moves, it should follow the person. So there should be current overall detection of user where it moves, and that's why the drone, which is probably under this umbrella, should follow the person. And so we need to identify in which direction to move.
So detecting these directions, and will there be some anti-fraud implementation also?
I think there are more important points to focus on for this project. So fraud, maybe it will come in the future when we will sell this product, and then where is the money? There is the payment fraud, for example.
I see. All right. So looking at your profile, you mentioned that you are a devoted yogi. Is it correct to say yogi or follower of yoga?
Yes, and recently I finished my yoga teacher training, so I'm even a teacher of yoga as well.
Well, that's awesome. So not only you can teach data science, but also yoga.
Exactly.
Maybe it's could be a good combination, data science plus yoga. So you sit, you do some data science, and in between you do yoga.
I mean, I had some yoga in the office a couple of years ago, so there were no data scientists there, but there were engineers there as well. So
May I ask what kind of yoga is this one? Because I know there are like different types of yoga.
So personally, I do mostly Ashtanga yoga, but when I teach, it's usually Vinyasa yoga. I do Vinyasa yoga as well, and when I teach, I like teaching Vinyasa.
What's the difference between those two?
Vinyasa, it's it's focused on different synchronizing your movements and breath. So it's a very dynamic style of yoga. Ashtanga yoga, it's it has very specified asanas all the way. So you're not doing like many different things. You have already predefined flow, which you do, and it combines the series and the kind of you progress doing the same things from day to day.
Okay. But which of those yoga, and actually in general I would ask, how does it impact your work, your daily work?
I mean, my daily work is mostly staying in front of a screen, a laptop, or and that's why I'm mostly sitting or standing, and I need some movement. And so when I do yoga, I feel much better. And if I do yoga in the morning, then kind of my body is awake and I'm ready for the day to code and to just attend meetings, to be in a still position.
Do you work standing or sitting?
I combine different things. So it's usually the best when you not just stand, not just sit, but you change in your position, by the time.
That's a very good point. And moving further with your background, you started with finance and credit. And what has motivated you to pick this domain to go in this direction?
I think from my school years, I was interested in economics, and I wanted to go to university to attend this degree. But then I started to dig, like when I applied for different programs at the university, there was this like finance one, and kind of I read description, and they promised, okay, you'll get a position in a bank or somewhere. And I thought, okay, maybe it would be nice to work in a bank afterwards. And that's how I applied for this program, and then I studied there.
I see. But if you speak about, you did finance in your bachelor's, and then in master's it was economics. Can you briefly describe what's the difference between those two? How will you differentiate between finance and economics?
I mean, finance, it's how you move your money, but economics in general, like how our society, like if you are talking about like government or like something, how we can develop, and it's not only about money, but about like production, about different things which are moving economy forward. But I think what gave me that finance program is actually good background in mathematics. So I would say I firstly wanted to do this program because I thought, okay, maybe in the future I will work in a bank. But after finishing the program, I realized that no, I don't want this. That's why I moved kind of away from this. And what I really got from that program, it's this background and foundation in mathematics and statistics, which allowed me later to enter quantitative economics and to move further in my career.
Mm-hmm. Later in your career, you move into data science, machine learning in this area. How did it happen like natural flow, or you at some point made a decision to drastically change what you're doing? And
I think it was kind of more like nature probably because I had a really good professor in mathematics in my bachelor, and that's why I like all this differential equations or like solving integrals or something like that. And I participated in mathematical Olympiads where I applied this skills. So I really enjoyed it. But later on, I started, I had a lot of friends from IT, and I started, can I learn something there? And I started taking some R courses a long time ago. And from there, also, I started to learn some Python. And I really enjoyed it. So I'm writing some simple programs and seeing how kind of they execute and gives you what you expect. And afterwards, I discovered this machine learning field. And what I found, it's kind of a combination of mathematics and programming. And I thought, it's two things which I enjoy doing. So why not to learn more about this? And I started to study more in this direction. And that's how I end up in data science.
And you love that science.
I like it, yeah.
This is like your passion now.
Yeah. I think mostly because I like working with data, and I really like seeing how you can, first you have data, but then you can apply models that this data will be useful and you can solve some real problems with it.
Okay. Do you see potential, where, first of all, where you see the future moving with this implementation of AI? And now there is large language models. And in connection also, how you see where it's moving in the future and how it will impact from the hardware perspective?
In general, AI develops quite fast during past times, and all this progress with large language models, as you mentioned, it's just like a breakthrough compared to like image recognition a couple of years ago. And I think maybe at some point it will kind of slow down in the kind of progress, but I mean, slow down in just like a couple of years. On a long scale, it will be like nothing. And I think it will progress and make actually our life easier. So maybe this like products as like our bro or like will be available for us, because even right now like we have many things and sometimes we even don't notice that kind of they exist, but they can be really beneficial for us. In terms of hardware, progress is happening also for hardware, and like if like in the middle of last century we had like these big computers which occupied all room, but now anything can be just in your head, in your phone. So it can progress in this side as well. So maybe in the future we will have just some glasses, I don't know, or just a small device which you will hold, and it will solve like many of your problems.
But when it comes to hardware, it was in this digital conference that one of the Microsoft engineers managers mentioned that there is already this kind of limitation with the availability of graphical processing units. And again, this like processing power. Do you feel already in your work that this is somehow giving limits to what can be done?
At my work, no, because I mean, at both we are not kind of building our own like models with billions and billions of parameters. and we don't have our own hardware because everything which we use is in cloud. And use AWS, for example, and they have a variety of different options which we can use. And our models, they're not requiring, like this gigabytes of RAM or something like that. It's possible to solve with the solutions which are available right now. Maybe it can be a problem for for Google or OpenAI, but even they are able to solve it. So I think it's not such a big problem right now.
I see. Well, if I understood correctly, then it's mostly relevant to these large language models, but for other use cases, it's not such a pressure from the lack of.
If you're in general talking about large models, if you're building a model which trains on videos, then you need to have a very hardware which allows you to process millions of different videos. So it really depends on the problem which is solved.
Do you think quantum computing could be a solution?
I'm not an expert in quantum computing, so I can't answer this question.
Do you follow? I mean, we are both, let's say, not experts in this quantum computing, but it's been quite a buzzword out there and for quite some time. Do you follow the progress?
Quantum computing, no.
Okay.
So I would research this first, and after that I would answer.
The closest I personally got to the quantum computing was working with my professor in Malaysia. He was working previously on those quantum computers. But yeah, the other thing that it's in your profile and that you are doing as a volunteer is promoting to girls joining the technology area, technology sector, or what is called STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And do you think there is this kind of what are kind of barriers, in your opinion, for girls to join the tech nowadays?
The barriers can be that it might be scary to go into this field because you don't see so many examples of female IT tech professionals compared to male. I think it was also a concern for me when I decided to go to this area because it's kind of male dominated, and I was thinking, okay, how I will feel myself there, and how I will be only one woman in the team of other men there. So that's why I think it can't be this fear aspect at all, and it imposes this imposter syndrome quite often, and it might be if you have kind of feel that you're not deserve this, and you feel that they might be better because they are boys, and computers and boys, it's more think they might be smarter with it, and I am as a girl maybe not so smart. It just discourages and demotivates probably, and I think it's it needs to be solved, and it should not be defined by gender, what to do and which profession to choose.
But basically, you, if I understood correctly, that it's more kind of maybe misinformation, or again, as you mentioned, fear, but not really the objective barriers that if a girl is applying to the company, she has less chances to get a job in the technology company.
I hope that it's not happening if a woman applying for a position, and I hope that nobody is decided based on gender should be can proceed with this candidate or not. But it's a thing. I remember this case from I think it was in the US where they did this experiment, like symphonic orchestra, and somewhere till the mid of last century, there were like open, like not a rehearsal, but where basically people applied for a position in this orchestra, and there were commission sitting, and it was audition. And during this audition, before, people were looking at candidate and were deciding, okay, should this musician play in orchestra or not? And it was mostly men who got the positions, basically. But then they decided to change this process, and it was set in a way that it was commission could only hear what person plays, but not see who is actually playing. And after they introduced this change, actually, like the proportion of female men and women who got kind of into orchestra were almost similar. So it just shows what bias can be compared when people see who is playing and when they don't see, because if they only listen, there is no difference. But if they kind of can see who is there, woman or man, it might bias their decision. So it kind of, it's solved right now, and yeah, we see a lot of females who are playing in orchestra, so maybe in the future we'll have also the same like proportion of men and women in IT as well.
Well, regarding the orchestras, this is not tech field, so I used to play in orchestra, and I felt there as a minority as a boy, as a male, and usually that's what I saw, that especially when it comes to violin players, which I do play the violin, it's majority actually girls playing the woman rather than men. But this is interesting example. But now under this diversity and inclusion, it's especially in Europe, governments and companies, they're introducing these quotas. How many women needs to be in the leadership positions? What do you think about
that? It's interesting. From one side, yes, it's good that people understand that there is this bias existing and they're trying to solve it. But on the other hand, should it be actually like a quotas for females? I think it should be like who is like when there is a process of interviews with different people, it should not be defined by like who they are, but rather by their skills and what they can bring to the company. So I'd rather say that these quotas, it just maybe not the best decision, and like it just, we need to work on biases arise in the first place, but not trying to solve this with this solution.
Speaking about this bias, there was even some kind of documentaries and lots of talks about the bias integrated into AI models. Do you see this as a real possibility that if it's not controlled, the bias can be programmed into the AI?
And yes, it exists, and actually like an interesting example which I experienced myself. So this DALL-E, it generates images based on a text input. And when it just was released, somebody from our data science just inserts this text, data scientist riding a horse, and produced an image. It was a man riding a horse. And then like to get actual picture of a woman, I need to specify female data scientist riding a horse. And only that, I got a picture of a woman on this. It just, so there were maybe a lot of pictures of data scientists who were males, which model was trained on, and it created this bias that, okay, if there is a data scientist, so there are more chances that it will be a man. And it's only not about data science. I think if I would kind of ask to produce a picture of a software engineer or something.
But this is interesting point, actually. So here you say there is this kind of bias and made male data scientist. What if the database on top of which it's trained is like equal, male and female? how the AI will decide then? Should it be male? If you just write, put me in data scientist, how does AI will decide it should be male or female?
But you know how Dali works? It gives you like 10 examples of kind of a main image and then also some other generated images, and all of them were male. So like for this, it would be like different like sets of kind of proposed images. And I'm talking right now about like even like color of pictures which were generated. So there are a lot of biases which exist, and it's kind of all that is induced by like model are trained on data. So like if you have not very diverse data, then it will produce such results.
But yeah, this is very true that regarding this image, they usually don't hit to the right target immediately, so they provide several options. Sometimes when I used to generate, just one was like what I wanted, and all the rest were some, not even about the bias, but the strange image.
Agree. Sometimes that may happen.
Yep. You also participated in many hackathons. What is attracting you in these hackathons? What makes you want to participate in those hackathons?
I think for me, a hackathon, it's a place where I can just kind of choose a very, very crazy idea and try to work on it. And as I have this limited amount of time, I can just like learn something new and kind of force myself to do something, to go out of my comfort zone and to just explore something new and to build something. It might not be applied in the future, but just to have fun and to try something new.
Is it something that you did and this is in the past, or you are open to participate in new hackathons?
Maybe sometimes in the future I will participate again. But before, I think COVID, I participated in many of them. But after COVID, kind of, I participated in a couple of online hackathons, and you don't have like this experience, like actually sitting in a place with your teammates, doing all-nighters, coding and stuff. And that's why maybe in the past I participated more than now.
Let's see. But those hackathons that you have participated, they are interesting in the sense that they are more into what I would say mechatronics, where you integrate, you did for the lighting and to make it more efficient in the buildings. You did for the lighting and to make it more efficient in the buildings. Did you pick this topic, or it's just ended up that it was by organizers of this hackathon? Or it was an attractive topic to you?
I think there were many different challenges actually proposed by sponsors or companies who support the hackathon. And many of them had data sets. Some of them don't have data available for you to work with. So it was already like one filter which I applied, because I really like when there is already like data and you don't need to spend time kind of searching on it, because you have just like 48 hours for your project. And why I chosen this one, I think because they had one of the best data available, and I decided, okay, let's try to build, and actually something came out of it.
I see. It's actually comes to my mind what I saw in the last digit, and when there was a seminar from one Microsoft engineer. He was referring to the example when ChatGPT was used to control the lighting and the temperature in the house. And what was the difference when you use this ChatGPT? You could say, pick the temperature which is will make me feel warm. You don't say specific temperature, but you say just pick the temperature which is good. And let the ChatGPT figure out what is the exact. And going through your profile, I also saw that on LinkedIn, by the way, very well made profile in LinkedIn, very detailed. I saw that you had somewhere in your past this karate Shotokan. Is it something you did, or you keep doing this?
No, I'm not doing it right now. I did it in my school and during my university times. But then I moved like to different cities, and that's how I just stopped doing this.
But you were so diligent that you put just in case that.
I think I just put it back then and it just stayed there. But you noticed, so
Yeah. Well, not just the LinkedIn profile, by the way. I checked out your blog,
Mm.
which is really a good idea, and I definitely gonna spend more time on your blog. There is lots of nice materials, links about data science, and I also noticed that you made it also kind of half on the technical part, data science, and then half travel blog. So I assume you like traveling.
I like traveling, yes, and also I like writing. And once after one trip, I decided, okay, why not to write my notes about this? And I already had a blog, and I just decided, okay, I will put there and share with my friends who actually go into the same place. That's how it started.
Do you have your like top favorite place which you would recommend to everyone to visit?
Probably these are Dolomites on the north of Italy. I love mountains, and it's really a place worth visiting. I already been there twice, and maybe I will come back there once again.
Great. From your background, I saw that you are really a person who is continuously learning, and I wonder, are you considering PhD in some time in the future?
Probably like sometime in the future, like as after my bachelor, I had this period where I worked, and then after I pursued my master. After I finished my master, I decided once again, okay, I had this thought about doing PhD, but at first I wanted to go in industry and kind of apply my knowledge there. And so for now I'm working at both, but maybe, yeah, exactly in some future, maybe I will do my PhD as well.
And that would be related to data science.
Yes, of course.
Well, it's when I was actually offered the PhD, I was actually considering at some point of my time. I was comparing this academic PhD and industrial PhD,
Mm-hmm.
and I was always looking for the option. This is kind of like a dream if there is industrial PhD.
Mm-hmm.
So probably you are in this domain, and who knows that if it's the company supports, it can be like related to the what company does.
Mm-hmm.
If the company supports, it can be like related to the what company does.
Mm-hmm. It's it actually like great that now we have this kind of master programs, but sometimes we have industrial masters. And actually, both we have one intern, like actually he's full-time kind of data scientist. He does the industrial master program at the University of Tartu, and at the same time he works at both. And when I spoke to him, he mentioned he really enjoys this. That because okay, he has some courses at university, but at the same time he's working and he's kind of can see how can he use his knowledge to actually working on real projects.
Do you support this idea that master thesis students should be doing actually their thesis projects in the company, connected to the some company?
I mean, it really depends. I think if like most of people they want to work at some company in the future, and it would be very beneficial for them to already work on some projects which actually kind of very applied, and maybe when they do this master program and they got with their internship or actually a position in this company. But if a person like has like a different mindset and they want to go into like PhD and kind of do a kind of more like a scientific research, maybe for them it will be beneficial to do master at the university at some research group, for example.
This is I've been working like in different companies, and I know that most of the companies don't like to handle like if some kind of student thesis, this kind of topics. It's a range of thousands of topics, starting with that you have to deal, that you have to tutor, and ending with this confidentiality part. But I understood in both in your company, it's a normal practice to take students to do thesis for the company.
We encourage people like to to propose a topic for a master thesis, and then like to lead these projects. And I think right now a couple of my colleagues from data science teams, they propose this topic for student to write a master thesis on it.
Right.
And also we had a couple of years ago interns in data science team. And yeah, as you mentioned, yes, there are some challenges involved because we like a company and all data is confidential, and we need to like provide all accesses only to like data which can be like used, and there are a lot of things to kind of to identify there, and like, but I think I had an intern and I really enjoyed this process because kind of it's an opportunity actually to give a data a person, and they can apply, can think in their own like way. Maybe even I haven't thought about it because I'm working on this project for a long time, where they have a fresh view on that, and maybe they just got out of this like course where they learned some new like fancy technology which they can apply. So I would say it's kind of beneficial for companies to have this like a fresh blood in the company working on something, because it helps with brainstorming as well and to generate new ideas.
In other words, maybe it's kind of like this diversity and inclusion, which is
yes, as well.
Like some research showing that it's promoting innovation.
Yeah, I agree with it.
And it will be a bit funny question, but still I want to ask you, what's the most awkward or bizarre food combination you have tried or have eaten?
Well, well, I haven't thought to remember.
But do you like to cook yourself or?
Right now I cook a lot at home because I kind of a quality of food which I got at home compared to if I'm going out. I mean, I'm spiced maybe some Indian food when I once tried in India. I mean, it's totally different culture.
You've been to India?
I've been to India, yes. And there kind of you ask for no spicy food. They bring you very, very spicy food, and that's what surprised me there.
And how did you handle this? Did you manage to eat spicy food?
I don't know, I can't.
I was not long ago in India as well, but I decided I will go for the most spicy food because I realized this is you need to eat spicy food to survive there.
Well, yes, but I survived without.
One person I knew, she was my colleague. She went there, and almost the same time that I went, and she had more kind of like negative impressions. But that was because when he started, I said, what you didn't like? And he said, I couldn't eat anything at all. I was eating just this, what is the Western food there? And then I understood. And after that, he said she got stomach hurt, and she basically was feeling sick all the time. And I realized that going to India, you need to take everything like what is local to survive. Ask you questions which were generated with the help of ChatGPT.
Okay.
So if you don't like the questions, then you can write complaint to ChatGPT. All right. How I made these questions? What was the prompt? I basically how I introduced you. I fed this prompt to ChatGPT, and I said that I'm going to interview you for the leadership position. So please prepare questions. And ChatGPT nicely divided like into structure. The questions into data science, machine learning, economics, business analytics, and then leadership. But I will start with the leadership part more. And one of the key aspects in the leadership is the ethics, how you do the business. And so when working with data, what ethical considerations do you take into account? Can you provide this example where you had this ethical dilemma?
I didn't have the ethical dilemma, but I mean, general kind of points here is that as a data scientist, I have access to all data, like almost all data in the company, and I need to be very careful how I access it, and I don't use any data to take any advantage of it. I'm using the data to train machine learning models, and also when training models, I need to kind of to see, okay, what features I'm using and how it will affect users. So there is this like ethical concerns, but I think as like I'm not taking any social demographic information from users to train, and so that my model might be biased in some point.
Do you feel you have higher responsibility as a senior data scientist compared to the middle or junior data scientist?
I don't think so. Like these main principles which we have working with data, they are applied to any level. Doesn't matter you're a junior data scientist or a principal data scientist.
Okay. Now, when again in the domain of data science team, where in this company you will be potentially leading. When I speak about communication and collaboration, can you describe the situation where you had to collaborate with a cross-functional team to solve a complex problem? How did you approach this kind of problems?
Most of projects which I'm working on, they are cross-functional. So I'm part of data science team, then we have engineers, then we have product manager, and we have analysts. So it mostly like this, like cross-functional teams. And the main communication challenge which might be is that you as a data scientist, you understand like all background like about machine learning models. But when you present results of your work, you need to actually see who is your audience and who you present to. If you present to your like colleagues in data science team, you can go more into technical details or like which metric you choose to optimize and to as an objective for your model. But if you are talking to product manager, maybe your focus of your like message which you're trying to say is that, okay, what is the business impact of your model? How much money we can save applying this model? So it's always about like who you're communicating to. It will define what you need to actually talk about.
That's actually a very good point, which is actually, as I think, defines the leader. If you can communicate your thought clearly and it's understandable to different groups. Why do you think lots of people from technical field, they are struggling to communicate or to differentiate to whom they're communicating and to make it understandable?
It might be just a matter of education, probably, because if you're taking curriculum of computer science, it will be a lot of like fundamental courses, algorithms, databases, like anything, but not this like soft skills. And it's actually what you can only gain like actually working on in a company or on some project. So if this component would present in like at the university, then maybe kind of people would have like better communication skills and so on. But actually, like a lot of people already like have it, and I think it's very crucial in a tech to have the soft skill as well, because you work with other people, and if you work on a project and if you want to actually achieve a goal, you need to first identify what are requirements, and it happens during communication.
What do you think needs to be changed? In the education or in the maybe corporate training to make sure that there is more efficient communication from the technical minded people?
Oh, interesting question. maybe some, like if you're talking about actually companies, a company could provide some like trainings for employees. For example, I remember at both we had like a course about like public speaking. Basically, they were like a trainer, and we meet like for 2 or 3 times, and like he just like talk, okay, how you can present to others, so like in all details about like public speaking. So and the same kind of trainings can be organized about general communication skills. If you're talking about like universities, then I mean, it might be a course of communications for engineers, for example. And I'm sure that it would be very useful for people to have this.
Related to this same topic, probably you noticed in company and corporate setup, when you're working with a cross-functional kind of teams, quite often there are some maybe like middle manager or like the manager, and it's kind of notion that I need to protect my technical people, and you don't expose your technical people to other teams, to other departments. So there's kind of buffer filter. What do you think about this approach?
I think it's very general approach, and kind of I would say that people are different, and maybe there are some like engineers who are very open, and they actually would like to communicate more. And it's a kind of goal of a manager of a team to identify what like a person is. Maybe some person is very shy, and they actually like feel more comfortable when they're just working alone on some project. Then okay, let this person alone, and in this atmosphere they will work very efficiently. But if a person is very open and want to communicate with other teams and talk to them about anything, any project related, like requirements or problems, switch dependencies, then let this person do what they enjoy doing. And I think it's like a goal of actually a manager to identify what person is and how to create this environment where a person will work.
Do you foresee kind of situation where engineers who are or data scientists, they are trained with these communication skills, that they can basically bypass this layer that someone needs to understand them and then translate to stakeholders and communicate directly to stakeholders? Do you see this could happen, and would it be more efficient?
I mean, but so it depends on like if person can communicate like to other stakeholders, and like if they understand like what stakeholders actually like need. If person understands this, then they can communicate directly. But if like a manager understands that there should be something improved in this like communication style of a person, then I mean, it can be discussed during one-on-ones, for example, okay, to provide this feedback that you need to kind of to change slightly how you communicate, or like what you communicate about. So if it's needed, and if like a manager sees that it would be like, it's very like urgent topic and we need to kind of solve it right now, then this communication like career should exist. But overall, I think if you provide this feedback for person who needs to communicate, and they can actually grow in this.
Just I think one of the biggest problems is the silos, like different teams, and there's challenges in the cross-functional communication. And but yeah, this is interesting topic. Is it like more due to the managers who are translating, or if there was like kind of less layers in the communication, would have been kind of removing these silos and make work more efficient?
It really depends on the size of the team. For example, I'm both at more than 5 years, and I joined 5 years ago. It was a much smaller company, and we had much less teams, and I think communication was much easier back then, because you need kind of less people and less things like to depend on. But now, yeah, we have like our engineering team is around 500 people, I guess. And there are many different teams. And yes, it makes the process sometimes slower. But I mean, it just, as company grows, you need to understand that, yeah, it will happen at some point. Yeah, we are trying to solve it in many different ways, but it's just think which you live with, I guess.
All right. Now speaking about machine learning and data science, do you see these two different fields? And if you're a data scientist, you cannot be into machine learning, or there needs to be a machine learning engineer who is not a data scientist. What's your view on this?
I understand data science is like a kind of bigger area, like machine learning is just part of it. And actually, with this data science position, it really depends on the company. In like big tech companies, like Airbnb or Facebook, data scientist is actually like an analytics position. So basically, data scientists, they're mostly working on business reports or just some analysis, mostly like this analytical work, as I would say data analysts and both are doing. And they're actually like people who work on machine learning models, they call them machine learning research or something like that. So what is data scientist right now? It really depends on the company and how they define this position. At both, we have like data scientists and we have machine learning engineers. And data scientists, it's mostly people who focus on kind of, if they're involved in like developing products from just some EDA to actually like launching model in production. And they're involved in model building, model prototyping, doing A/B tests, working with product to define a problem, and so on. But machine learning engineers, kind of, they also do all of that. But my main focus for them is on this kind of machine learning part. So they're already quite big like projects with proven value. They just need like to get most of existing models to improve accuracy, to make model as perfect as possible.
Well, speaking about this data science, I saw there is some kind of debate if data scientists should do this data engineering, like cleaning data and preparing. What's your stance? Should there be like separate people who do this and then fit to the data scientist? Or data science should, from beginning, handle end-to-end everything?
I mean, data engineering is also quite broad. Also, you mentioned just data engineering who prepares data already. So basically, data scientist just would take the data set and build a model with it. But data engineering, in my opinion, is also a person who kind of makes all the data available. So we have like backend services generating data, but how this kind of live databases can accessible later for all this like historical analysis by data science. And that's what data engineers, in my opinion, usually work on. But then there is also a big amount of data available. And I think it's already a data scientists who need to explore what kind of data we have in our databases and select what is actually required for my models and then work on it. Because actually exploring data and seeing like feature distribution, it may be useful sometimes because it will give you a hint which feature to use for a model, for example.
But make data available, so basically working on APIs as well. I mean, moving closer to kind of handover from backend engineers to the data engineers.
I would say to have something of a data lake where all data is stored and easily accessible by people who like data scientists or data analysts. People who like data scientists or data analysts.
By the way, regarding this, let's say descriptive analytics, where you visualize and you put these dashboards, do you have your preference? Like, I don't know, which BI tool to use?
Kind of when I'm doing some explorative data analysis, it's mostly in Jupyter notebooks, and then I use some Python or like this some other like visualization libraries. So it's for me, it's mostly Python which I'm using. But and I haven't worked much with many different visualization tools. But I think Looker, if you heard about it, it's quite nice. And if you have just the data available there, you can make a quite interesting like visualizations, which you can use to tell stories about it.
But how do you see that when you have these visualizations, is it still important to keep them for the business users, or eventually it's kind of intermediary step towards automating this and converting this into some model which gives you already insight?
I think it really depends on what you want to do with it. So sometimes you want to understand what is, sales are dropping. You understand the reason. Probably, you actually when you build a model which will tells you, which you will build like a regression models number, like a volume of sales depending on different features, and your feature can tell which parameters influences decrease in sale. Then its model was trained once and answers this question. But if you wanted to actually target real users coming to your website, then there is a model which is working, and there is no visualization actually involved and model prediction step. So probably we'll have some analysis of model results later on, but I think it's just two different parts.
I see. Now I want to ask you a question more on the change management part. And here I have one scenario. So imagine you're leading a data science department in a fast-growing tech company. And for many years, your team was using traditional machine learning algorithms. But now there is a need to transition to advanced deep learning techniques. So it means adopting new tools, methodologies, and workflows. How would you approach this? Like, let's say you got this from the management, maybe. Okay, this task, we need to do this by the end of this month. Then you're coming back to your team. What will you start doing? Your first steps?
First, here in this description, I would assume then that it was a decision made based on something that, we are moving from neural networks from just traditional machine learning models, not just because we want to move, but because we measure this value and we understand, it will be better, and we measured all these trade-offs. If we move to this, there will be some resources which need to spend on changing what kind of models we use. So I assume that it was already done, and we are moving to this because we did this research before. If I would be lead this team, and I think most of people right now, they want to work on the neural networks. When I'm talking to my colleagues or to my friends, or when I'm talking to people at meetups or conferences, people more motivated to work on something which this cutting-edge technologies. So I would assume that people would be interesting to actually to try to work on more advanced technologies, and I would actually like to see in the teams that they are motivated by learning something new as well. And it wouldn't be not we need to move. Why I get used to this? Because if you want to learn something new, it just have these qualities which I think company would value. So first, I would assume that people would be interesting to actually to work on more advanced technologies. But then they need to understand, do we have this actually available? For example, if we training models on our kind of compute, or if we are training things on the cloud, do we have this resources available to train this kind of models? We need to think about inference stage. Do we have this like compute available that our models, which might require more like power, is this available actually or not? So I would make this like plan. Okay, what we need to solve before we are moving to this, and then we solve it step by step.
Well, ideally is that your assumption is valid, but quite often, let's say, some people say, don't touch this, been working, we don't need to make any changes. So let's say not everyone, but there is a group of these people in the team, they are very like with a strong voice. And you come and tell them, and then there is this people with a strong voice start almost like maybe screaming or like saying that no, we should not make any changes. And then there is some other group of people, you don't know, they are quiet. How then in this case, what will you say to the team, or what will you do in this case then?
As for the first group who are disagree with this change, I will try to understand why they're thinking like that. So why they're what are their concerns about like moving this? If it's only because they get used to work like that, or there is something else. And maybe, I'm not aware of something, and maybe they have like clear like arguments and very strong arguments why this change should not be applied. And I would talk to them and try to understand this. But maybe they have some actual thoughts which would play against what they want to do. But I mean, about quiet groups, I there are some like maybe like shy like people, and I would just like talk to them maybe as well. Okay, what they're thinking about this, and do they have some kind of arguments pro or con?
Right. Well, change management is not easy, and of course it comes to very specific cases, and it's like maybe generalized. It's a bit hard to. But have you had the situations when you did a great job, you work hard, and then someone took credit for your work? Credit for your work.
Sure. I don't remember like on the top of my mind in such cases. I mean, if you're talking about my work at Bolt, then usually
I mean, in general, like
in general,
maybe even in the university. Let's say there was group work and supposed to be group work, but everything was done by you.
I probably there like, as if you are talking about university times, like we had many different projects and different courses. It might be that there were situations when, let's say we work together, two people on a project, and I would do more, but then there are like two names on this project, and I think I would done it because I wanted this project to progress, and I mean, it's fine. It's still these two names, and I think I weren't in a situation where, okay, that I was working on something, but there really not my name on it.
Let's make it more specific. For instance, imagine that you deploy the model, did the A and B test, and then something went wrong. And it took a lot of time, it was not so clear what went wrong. And then eventually you were the one who figured out what was wrong. But at the same time, when you figured out this and you shared with the team, with the people, someone else just went and informed your superior or the other teams, and basically took credit for finding what was wrong with the model. How would you manage this situation?
I mean, the goal of the project is to develop more, and I mean, what will be credits like of that? Like, if okay, I found this, it's already good. I solved this problem, and if somebody else talk about it, I mean, if they want to talk about it, okay, they're talking about it. I mean, what these credits actually give to the person, I don't know. Maybe they wanted to share them first. Okay, fine.
Okay, but let's say that it's actually let's say you wanted promotion, and of course one of the ways is that you show some results, and one of these results, okay, you can build a model which is working fine, but then it's also that you quickly identified what went wrong and fixed it. In this case, will you also take it lightly that someone just he wanted to share, he or she wanted to go and share, let them share, or it will be different in this case?
I mean, but actually what matters are actions, but not words. And if person just tells about it, can they show that they actually done it? I would kind of company where I want to work, it's a company where there is this atmosphere. It's not only kind of, you're not judged by what they're talking only, but what they're actually doing. Okay, let's say I would like the promotion in this company, then I would say, okay, there was this problem, I found it. It doesn't matter that somebody else just said about it. I hope no.
But you're saying that the company, well, you are relying that, if I understood correctly, that the company environment should basically protect from this kind of situations.
I think, yeah, that's what I mean, yeah. The kind of, there is a trust in the company, and even if you're building trust with your colleagues as well, and why would somebody want this to happen? Okay, maybe they also want promotion, and that's why they talking about this, but how they will prove that they found it? I mean, they would need to lie, and I would not lie. I don't want to work in a company when kind of you're kind of, you have some kind of this relationship with your colleagues when somebody wants to take something from your credit or what.
But will you talk to that person, or you will just ignore this situation?
Or I think it depends. It depends on how this like situation will evolve. Let's say, if okay, there was something done and there was something said, okay, situation finished. I mean, if then it's repeated again, I would already like ask person why you're doing this. But I mean, if even that's like an issue, a situation, it continues, and then let's say this happened, and I have my promotion doc where I mentioned this, but my manager, let's say, asked me, but I remember that it's not you, but another person told me about this, but then I will tell how it was actually in reality. And then probably manager would ask another person, and then if person lies, then it's already a situation which I would not like. If like person would lie, then I would ask why you lie.
All right. But what do you think in the team, let's say in our company, where for the position that you are applying to, there will be data scientists, and you will be hiring also data scientists. In this case, as a leader of this data science team, do you think there should be always A players, or it's good to have also B players? It's good to have also B players.
So by A players, I mean people who just have very like high skills and are like the best in the team, and B players is people who just like kind of they are also like a good like data scientists, but they don't have like such a great skill set.
Yeah, something like that. Yes.
It depends on the projects which are kind of which you are trying to solve, because it's not always that you have very work which can be done only by senior data scientists. There might be projects which can be done like which is easier to do, more straightforward, and it can be done by this how you call them like B players. And I just need to understand like this people, do they want to grow? And maybe kind of okay, they work first on like some easy projects, but if they want to grow more, then maybe I would ask this players to teach them, like to kind of mentor them probably, and to grow them also.
So if I understood correctly, you will actually give a chance and you will develop this from B to A, so to say.
Ideally, yes, kind of. I want people to grow in like when they're working, but first it really depends on projects which you're working on, because if it's only like very like difficult projects which I currently have, and I see that the person does not have a skills to do that, then I'm not sure that our projects will be delivered, let's say, on time or in the quality which we actually need. So it's always kind of right people should work on right problems.
I understand. And the final question in our job interview is, what's your salary expectation?
Oh, interesting question. So I think I'm looking forward for next stages of the interview, and where we can look more into what kind of skills I have and what are more requirements for this position, and that's how we will have like more like a base to identify expectation of a salary.
But do you have some maybe range expectations, so, which you could share already, and then we could also take this into account if we want to proceed further or not?
I think you're more aware of what kind of current market situation is, and how is companies positioned in the market, and you can propose this range to me.
All right. Thank you. And now we're done with this job interview.
Thank you.
It's a mock-up. So, time for the feedback. Was it similar to your throughout your career when you were hired? Was it like kind of similar? Or what you like, what you didn't like?
I think you were very well prepared, and you research on my LinkedIn page, and you asked me questions which I forgot that I have this written somewhere. So it's a really good preparation that you did, and I really enjoyed it. I think some questions were actually similar to what I would expect on an interview to be, and also I like that it was not only about like my work, my career, but also about some like outside of work what I'm doing, and it kind of makes me feel more relaxed, I would say. And it's just, because sometimes during interviews you might feel a bit nervous, but when you kind of have this like more talk which are not about career, but what others think you're doing, about personal life, and it just make kind of interview flow easier.
Well, you had this kind of interviews where you were made very nervous. The interviewer was maybe very, I don't know, rough.
I think for recent times, I don't know. It's maybe a very long time ago. Maybe there were like such situation when it was a recruiter probably, and they were not very well, maybe prepared to answer my question, which I had, because they didn't know more about the position which I applied for, and that's why they were a bit of angry why I asked those questions. But I think it was the last interview this company back then.
I see. But I think this is really, it's not just that person who applies, that they are looking at this person and evaluating, but the person who applies also evaluates like first impressions of the company, how they're interviewing me.
And also this communication when starts before interview, when you just communicate with a recruiter, for example, on LinkedIn or in emails. And from there you can see what kind of style of communications they have and how fast they answer, and it also creates impression about the company.
Yep. And now there are many different people watching, but let's say the girls who are watching and they are deciding, should I go to the technology field, or maybe they are graduating from the university, so to say aspiring data scientists or aspiring engineers. What advice would you give them?
I would just say, if you're kind of thinking about going into tech or not to go into tech, just follow your passion. So if you find this interesting and it motivates you, you kind of can spend time coding without even noticing times. It's probably you're passionate about it and you just need to go for it. And of course, there will be some challenges on the way, but if you really love it, if you're passionate about it, then everything can be solved.
Thank you. And that was Elizaveta Lebedeva in the episode of Leaders and Engineers. Thank you for watching and listening us.